Hi there, this is Solid Ronan from Solid Ronan Films, and welcome to another random review. And today's random review is of The Dead Centre from 2019, written and directed by Billy Senese. The Arrow sale is on at the moment, online and on Zavi and Arrow and HMV are all doing it. So you can pick up The Dead Centre for £7.50, which I would highly recommend that you do. I have cable television and I have a box where you can record programs and films on it, and I kind of use that as a kind of rental service. Strangely enough, I've got a backlog on that as well, and I tend to record films and then watch them later and then see if I want to add them to the collection. And there's various types of films. There's films that you watch all the way through and kind of go, yeah, that was okay, but I don't really have any interest in adding it to the collection. You have ones that you just switch off after 15 minutes and you don't actually watch it all the way through. You have other ones that you watch all the way through and then you still want to add it to your collection. And then there's ones like The Dead Centre, which you watch about 20 minutes of and then you just switch it off and you just say, I'm going to buy that and add it to the collection because I think it's intriguing enough. And that's the perfect example. Obviously with the Arrow, you do get a nice little booklet, and this one has really good special features, which again I would highly recommend you pick up for £7.50, because what do you get nowadays for £7.50 apart from an Arrow Blu-ray? You have a commentary with Billy Senese, the writer-director, and the producer-actor Shane Carruth, who of course did Primer and Upstream Colour. And also co-star Jeremy Childs. There's a commentary with writer-director Billy Senese and producer and the cinematographer. And there's a really good making of, a walk through the Dead Centre, which actors and pretty much everybody that is mentioned in the commentary kind of go back to the locations in the film and kind of talk about it. Because as you can expect, this was made for not a lot of money. It's a small kind of independent film, and it's one of those ones that Arrow kind of specialise in. You know, you have your 80s cheesy slashers that they do, but they also have kind of low budget films that are sometimes really interesting. They also have on-set interviews with Shane Carruth and Purna Jagannathan from the timing of the shoot. There's also a head casting with Jeremy Childs when he gets his head cast, strangely enough. There's a short film, there's actually two short films directed by Billy Senese, both starring Jeremy Childs. Intruder from 2011 and The Suicide Tapes from 2010. And there's also 7 radio plays that were written, produced and directed by Billy Senese as well. So even if you buy this for £7.50 and you don't like it, there's a lot of really good extras on it, so it makes it well worth picking up. So I suppose I should actually tell you what the film's about. Now that I've finished with my sales pitch. I get no money from Billy Senese or Arrow Video for telling you to go and buy The Dead Centre for £7.50. It's a lovely little film about a man who dies, played by Jeremy Childs, who, after he's declared dead and taken to the morgue, he comes back to life and then gets into the system as he vanishes from the mortuary, and he turns up in Shane Carruth's kind of psychiatric ward, where he becomes a patient, and he's fairly catatonic, but every now and again he kind of bursts into life, and he's a bit of a puzzle to Shane Carruth's character, who takes him under his wing despite the pressure from his boss. And you also have the pathologist who goes to the mortuary to do a post-mortem or an autopsy on Jeremy Child's character, but he's disappeared from the morgue. So he goes to the crime scene and talks to his family as they are trying to find the body. So you have two kind of threads going at the one time, that as you get to know the characters, obviously as an audience we do want those threads to join up at the end, which they do, but not really in a conventional sense, not in a sense of the two characters, the psychiatrist and the pathologist, get together and compare notes, and it doesn't kind of work out like that. And another thing that I really like about the film, minor spoilers, is there's kind of no grand explanation for it. As the patient's condition continues, he seems to hear lots of voices and lots of high-pitched sounds. The score is really off-putting and dissonant and kind of atonal. There's lovely little scenes just of dots on the wall. But then people on the psych ward start dying, and Shane Carruth becomes more and more obsessed with the patient, and he gets himself into more and more trouble with his boss, because you do get the feeling that he takes his work a bit more personally, and he's a bit more of a kind of addictive personality himself. So he becomes slightly obsessional about the patient and trying to figure out what's going on, because he can kind of see, obviously people start dying, so he kind of obviously wants to know what's going on, but the guy can't remember anything. He doesn't know who he is for large parts of the film. And then on the other side you have the pathologist who goes to the crime scene, which is very disturbing in itself. And then he goes to visit his mum and dad, and we find out that there was a fire which killed his wife, but his children and himself survived, but obviously he's damaged in some way. And when the pathologist goes up to his bedroom, he's kind of decorated walls with all this paraphernalia. I won't tell you exactly what kind of paraphernalia, but it gives you a hint of perhaps what's going on. But again, I just like the fact that it's not kind of neatly explained and it's not nicely tied up at the end. Again, it's a low budget film, but again, because it doesn't have any stars, I mean, Shane Carruth's not really a star. We all kind of know who he is, but he's not particularly a superstar or anything. There's some non-professional actors, and it just gives the film a kind of authenticity and a realism, and it never really gets that silly, unlike perhaps if it was a bigger budget film with stars in it. It has a kind of, it's kind of shot with kind of muted colours. There's a real sense of unease that's crafted really well in the film. It does have a couple of effective, not really jump scares, but kind of, it's well done. And again, it just has a lovely queasy kind of atmosphere. And it is good, the fact that the two kind of protagonists do eventually meet, but again, it's not a guy sitting at the end of the film explaining everything that happened, unlike some films. Questions are still left, which is kind of the best. It's not a long film, it's only about 83 minutes, but it's kind of as long as it needs to be. And it's just a really nice little independent film that it's certainly, like I said, it's worth your time, and it's worth investing a whole £7.50 on picking up. So thanks very much for watching this random review of The Dead Centre. Please let me know in the comments below if you've seen the film before and what you thought of it. Like I said, it's well worth your time and well worth picking up for £7.50 if you're buying stuff in the Arrow sale. So once again, thanks very much for watching. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, saying farewell.